All right, guys, welcome back to the closing table. I'm James Lutz with Mortgage One Keystone, and what we're doing is talking to top professionals in the real estate business in the Metro Detroit area to learn market stuff, but really what goes on behind the scenes in all these closings and transactions that we're doing on a daily basis. So today, I am joined with Jessica Bellanger here from Remax, and I am going to read your intro because I took some time to put this all together and I can't memorize it. Jessica has built a strong reputation through client relationships, local market knowledge, and helping buyers and sellers navigate what can be at times a very emotional process. Today, we're going to talk about her journey into real estate, what today's buyers and sellers are really experiencing, lessons learned from the business, and what it actually takes to succeed in the industry long term. Jessica, welcome to the closing table.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Beginning of every episode, I like to kind of get into the background. Tell us when did you get into real estate? Kind of what led you into it? That whole kind of story.
Yeah, so it's a very long story that I'm going to try to shorten, but essentially, I have a special needs son who needed more medical care than Northern Michigan was able to provide, so I moved down here to the Metro Detroit area without a job.
Did you grow up there?
No, actually, I grew up in Macomb Township. My parents divorced, and that left us kind of in Northern Michigan, but after a few years of trying to get him the medical treatment he needed up there, it just wasn't kind of enough, so we decided to move back without a job. Went to an unemployment office. Hated the entire situation. Was sitting in the waiting room with somebody, and they said, well, my sister's opening a real estate firm and needs somebody with an accounting background. And I had done accounting as part of my pre-law degree, and so I knew enough about it that I didn't want to do it as a living, but but it was a good job to get me out of the unemployment agency, and I kind of fell in love with it. Over the next 7 years, I worked for that company. Was a little boutique company, and I don't know, just decided to get my license, see where that took me, as opposed to finishing my grad school, and here we are 15 years later.
Look at that. I'm in the same exact time frame, 15 years in. Didn't know I was going to do it growing up, that's for sure, and just kind of fell into it by happenstance. What's something that you think you would wish you knew about your next 15 years before you got into it, that you had no clue, obviously, what to expect?
If I'm honest, I wish I knew where the property values in Detroit were going to go, because I would have bought every single one of them.
Right. Amen to that.
Yeah. No, I think that I think I spent a lot of years trying to be what people expected, or what I thought people expected, and I think my business blew up when I decided to let go of that and just be me.
Yep. Amen. Because I feel that myself too.
Yeah.
And everyone tells you that, you can't say certain things, talk about certain things, especially with social media and what everyone's doing these days, and you're going to alienate people and blah, 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 blah. And it's such a pain in the ass to not be true to who you are and show your real personality and have to be, cookie cutter guy or gal.
I'm clearly not very
No,
cutter,
God, no. So. That's why, that's something that I look up to you for, the way you run yourself. What keeps you motivated 15 years in? What makes you keep working hard every day and get up? No one wants to get up that early and work all day, but why do you do it?
Real estate's a gambling addiction. I honestly believe that real estate's a gambling addiction. Well, first and foremost, I adore my clients. But in addition to that, I love the aspect that, you get exactly what you put into it back out of it. And there's nobody else that's kind of impacting my results besides me. And I also love that you can be I don't know where my next meal is coming from, to just a million things on your plate. And so I like the inconsistency of every day a little bit. I don't know that that's everybody's lane to be in.
100%.
But,
yep.
When I say I knew after college that accounting wasn't where I wanted to be long term, I knew it wasn't. I couldn't do it every day. But in addition to that, I kind of touched on, I have a special needs son. His dad has passed away, and so when I'm gone, everything that he gets to live off of either has to come from me or, the state, which I'd rather be.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't ever want to rely on
leave
the
him
state or the
comfortable.
government. Right.
Yep.
And how many kids do you have now?
Two.
Both boys, right?
Both boys. Micah's going to be 25 this year, and Malachi's going to be 27.
Yep. And Malachi is following in your footsteps.
He He would love to not be. He is licensed. He does sell, and he does a great job at it. But his ultimate goal is stand-up comedy.
Really? I did see that you've been sharing that. How's that been going for him?
It's been going good. He does a couple of open mics every week down in Detroit. He's been at Mark Ridley's. I think he just got a potential spot on Scumbaggery, which is a podcast in Detroit as well. So,
Okay.
He's been to Austin 2 times and to Vegas once as an attempt for Kill Tony.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so
What kind of, not to get out of too far from real estate talk here, but who are the people that, who are not his mentors, but who does he look to in comedy,
Oh, man,
Does he have a couple of guys? Really? Okay,
yeah,
that's his guy?
And Tony Hinchcliffe.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he likes Bert Kreischer, but I think just as an add-on. To be honest, though, he is, he's a student of that. And I think that that's, right, key. Even in real estate, you can tell the people that are passionate about it and the people that are doing it for a paycheck. And absolutely, I would say that stand-up comedy is his passion.
Perfect. Good for him, and we wish him success, of course. Back to actual business and real estate here. In your opinion, or you can use facts, whatever, what are you seeing buyers struggle with the most right now?
It's a really weird market. I think every year for 15 years I've said that I'm not going to see anything more strange, and every year it just proves me wrong. Buyer struggle right now is the houses that are not competitive are the nice ones. And it's really difficult to write a strong competitive offer, especially when listing agents are doing their job right and not giving all the trade secrets away.
Yep.
There's a mix, I think, right now of properties that are 15, 20 offers and properties that are 2 to 3. And you don't need to be as competitive on. And I think that gauging where you need to be without overspending is a real struggle right now.
Yep. And without giving away any secrets from the playbook, but, what are some things that, the good agents like yourself, what are you doing to make your offer stand out, or maybe put a little extra frosting on it to just give it a little extra? What kind of stuff do you do?
I mean, I personally think that comes back to your authenticity and letting that show. Good communication without being over-communicative.
That's a word, I think.
Yeah, right. Just
works for me.
Enunciate it quite right, I think. There's a really tender line to walk there. There's a point where, as a listing agent, when I'm getting 5 calls from the same person in a weekend, it's too much, but you also want to kind of make sure to follow up. We're making sure that our lenders are reaching out when we're writing strong offers, or not strong offers. We're just making sure that the lender reaches out. Making sure that we have a pre-approval that's going to get us to the closing table, which I think is massive, and a strong team and solid advice to the buyers about what we should be concerned about, what we shouldn't be concerned about, where their comfort level lies. And
what are some mistakes on the flip side of the coin? What are some mistakes that these buyers are making right now that you see? Yeah,
I mean, I honestly think the lender piece is massive right now. We're seeing people come in with pre-approvals that are truly a pre-approval, or a pre-qualification rather, versus a pre-approval, not underwritten. I think long conversations with your lender at the beginning lead to less confusion at the tail end. So not every buyer that are coming in on our listings necessarily understands what their down payment versus what they actually have for cash to close is. So we try to take a lot of time making sure that we're there. And from a listing agent perspective, a lot of time calling those lenders and finding out kind of exactly where they are in the stride. But ultimately, I mean, for a competitive house, you have to be competitive, right?
Yeah.
So there's only so many love letters to the seller that you can write, and so many times that I can call a listing agent or have them call me, vice versa, on my properties. If the offer's not strong, none of that's going to kind of account for anything
Amen.
else.
Yep.
Yeah.
And for anyone, when she was talking about how important the lending piece is and the difference between a pre-qualification and pre-approval is, I'll try to make it as easy and dumb it down as I possibly can. A pre-qualifications means I had a conversation with you over the phone. I asked you, hey, how's your credit look? What type of debts do you have? Do you get paid out? It's all just verbal, and it's a conversation, and it could sound great over the phone. A pre-approval, however, is formal. I have taken your actual application. I have reviewed it. We have pulled your credit, reviewed it. We have gotten your pay stubs, W-2s, tax returns, divorce decree. We've gotten everything that could go into it, and I've looked at the bank statements. I've gone and seen, are there any large unexplainable deposits? And then you had mentioned running through the underwriting system. The automated underwriting system is basically an algorithm. We plug in all the application information, and we run it through, and that's where the automated system tells us approve, accept, aka you are fully pre-approved now, and you get your letter. And that is huge. It instills confidence in the offer that you present. And not to hate on the everyday person, but they don't know what we know and how deep this stuff goes. So I don't want to say buyers are liars, but you could accidentally say something like, for example, self-employed person might say, hey, how much do you make per year? You think, I'll make $100,000 a year. Okay. I pre-qualify you with $100,000 a year, and you're pre-qualified. Everything looks great. And then I get your tax returns, and your gross receipts is $100,000, but then you wrote off A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. And now your actual take home net income is $40,000 a year. That's the big difference, guys, is you want to work with somebody that's not only local and reputable, has a good name, good reputation, but that they've done the job and that they've actually reviewed all the documentation. Mm-hmm. So that's true. A big thing that buyers are getting wrong right now.
Yep.
Let's see. Is there any special advice if someone wants to buy right now? Is there any advice that you would give them? Is now a good time to buy?
I mean, right.
Some people say it's not. It's always a good time to buy.
Yeah. So we run across people all the time right now that are like, we waited. We thought in 2020 the market was going to crash at some point, and now 6 years later, we've spent a good chunk of our life renting or doing whatever it was. Property values continue to rise, and they're tired of kind of letting life pass them by, when realistically, if they had bought 6 years ago, they'd have 6 years of equity basically built in their house as prices are rising. Do I think that we're overdue for a market correction? I think every real estate agent you talk to should probably be saying, yes, we're overdue for it. But I think that there's a lot of pieces that have gone into the current market, like, 2008. We were still on the come up from that when 2020 happened. Yep. We saw a lot of lost equity back then that we had to make up for, but we also have to make up for the inflation that should have happened during the lost equity years. So is it a good time to buy? Yeah, I do think any time is a good time to buy, as long as you're going to be able to hold that house for a certain amount of time. If you're looking at it as a 2-year investment, there's a little bit more risk there. On any time that you purchase, if you're looking at a shorter term time that you're going to be in the property, I think the risk is a little bit higher. And
are these conversations that you always have with your clients going into the deal? You sit down and what are your goals? What do you expect from this? And then you guide them obviously with your knowledge.
Yeah, as much as we can, right? There's risk in any real estate solution. Real estate agents are not inspectors. We're not, economists. There's a lot of things that we're not. We're not attorneys. We're looking at what the market currently is, what it's done over the past few years, where we kind of expect it to go. And then ultimately, when we're walking through properties with clients, we're having the conversation about, affordability, what life's going to bring, how quickly will they outgrow it, what does equity look like if they outgrow it and need to sell it in a rather short-term time frame. What does it look like if they can hold on to it? If life throws them a curveball and they're going to look at renting, there are conversations that we have on a pretty regular basis with our clients to find out where life is going. Because our goal is ultimately a long-term relationship with the clients versus a short-term relationship. Yep. So, if we sell them a shitty house that they can't get out of and they call us back to sell it again, that doesn't do us any good, ultimately. So.
Yeah, because I don't think people understand, this is not a transactional business. Mm-hmm. It's a relationship-driven business built on trust and just always being there, working hard, doing what's best for your client, informing them of everything that we've learned that they should know, not necessarily telling them what they want to hear, but telling them what they need to hear. And sometimes those conversations are tough.
It's funny, there's she's a real estate agent that started with a firm that I was at years ago, Brianna Wilson, and literally as we were pulling into Mount Clemens today, I was on Facebook, right? I was on social media where I shouldn't.
Where all us old people are, Facebook.
Right, yeah. I was on Facebook and she shared a post that said, hire a real estate agent that can afford to tell you no. And I think that that's massive.
I was going to say something about that when you were talking earlier about some people might force you, not force, but encourage you into purchasing something when it may not be the best for you because they want that check.
Yeah.
And that's sad to say, but it happens on my side, your side, every industry, there's bad players.
Yeah. I think the old timers, when I was coming up in real estate, called that commission breath.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense.
But yeah, I mean, right, like it really is our goal to build a relationship, to be with them long term, and to get them into a house that fits their needs now, but also isn't going to lose them money in the future. And again, it's not a perfect system, but
no. Yeah, we do the best we can. Like I said, there's no crystal ball. I don't know what's going to happen next year. Nobody really does. We have a good idea, but nothing I would put my name on and say, I guarantee. Because I've seen that, and it's so frustrating with, like, I'm not going to mention any names, but this guy is supposed to be like the know-it-all of mortgage securities and my side of the business. And boy, did he give a great presentation, 5 years ago or whatever it was. Yeah, about 5 years ago with all the data. And I ate it up. I'm not going to lie. I ate it up because it was that good and it was backed by data.
Yeah.
And it said rates are going to come back down by the end of this year.
Yeah.
Back when we were in like the 7s and stuff and everything. He had birth rates, family sizes. I mean, every data point you could think of to back up that, hey, rates are going to come down into the 5s by the end of the year. Guess what they did? Stayed right where they're at. At that point, that's why I am done promoting the future because I don't know.
Yeah.
Nobody does.
Nobody does. And there's too many outside influences that can change. So even if the trajectory was there, you throw in, political tensions and now everything changes a little bit for us.
It could change literally overnight.
Yeah.
And we've seen that happen. Let's talk about, we already talked a little about personal life, but how do you manage to be very successful, hardworking, and still set time aside? And I know real estate and mortgage allows us that opportunity, but some people struggle with all of it or some of it. How do you get through all,
I have no quality of life until I go on vacation.
I was going to mention that because you are, you hop all over the globe. It's kind of like one of your passions, I guess.
Yeah, no, and probably, obviously, my son being the biggest motivator and making sure that he's secure long term, but probably that's my number 2 on like the why, right?
Yeah.
So I say all the time, my parents spent lives basically working hard for everything that they had. And when my dad and my stepmom retired, the first vacation they went on, they found out that she had stage 4 cancer, and she was gone in a year and a half. And my dad was gone as of last September at 63. And so they spent their entire years, and my mom too, working away for this retirement that they were going to be able to enjoy. And all 3 of them are either gone or medically retired without the ability to travel and without the means to. So my sister and I are avid travelers.
What are some of the places that you've been to recently?
Oh, man.
I know it's a lot. Just give me a top 3 favorite places. What's your favorite?
Recently, we have been to, Italy's my favorite.
Okay.
And I know that's cliche, and I don't care.
Obviously, there's a reason. It's Italy. It's beautiful.
Food,
yeah.
Clearly,
it's
Jesus,
food. Yeah, right.
So, no, it's gorgeous. So recently, we've been to Italy. We're heading to Africa in September here. We just booked two trips to Greece next year. Kind of coincidentally ended up on one with a group of friends that we already had one booked. I think we'll be doing Croatia and, Italy's part of one of those trips as well. So we're going back. We haven't been to northern Italy, so Venice is going to be part of one of the trips that we're going on. I loved Australia. I hated the food.
Okay.
I thought it wasn't great, but the landscape
Did you come in contact with the big giant spiders and all the crazy stuff?
Yeah, out in the outback. They are kind of like rampant, I would say. So we only spent like 2 days there. But it was beautiful. Again, the food
part of like a cruise, or just you went to Australia? You spent the whole time? Okay.
Australia. And I started in Sydney and spent about a week there, and then went up to the outback, spent about 2 days there. The bugs were more than I wanted to contend with. And then went over to Port Douglas for the barrier reef and snorkeled that. So. And
while you're gone, enjoying life, because you deserve it, who keeps your business going? How do you manage that with all these clients that you're helping, and you're just trying to enjoy life for a very brief period? How do you go through it?
I have number one, the world's best team. I'm able to rely on them, but I will tell you, I'm very interactive. We were in Bora Bora last February.
Is that the one where you're in the hut on the crystal?
Yeah.
I remember from Facebook. I was going to bring it up because that's
Yeah.
probably like the coolest one that I see. That like I would love to take my wife there one day if we could ever afford and have the time to go. Like it's beautiful. Like
was
the hut on the
amazing.
crystal clear water. Like come on.
It was amazing, but I was over there, and there's a financial planner locally that I work with, and she had a good friend who was working with another real estate agent, and he could not get a hold of his real estate agent to ask a question, and she called me, and I answered, and
While you're on vacation?
While I was on vacation, and we got him sorted out from there. In addition to Bora Bora, I've been to the Maldives, which is also over water bungalows. That one, I literally just set an alarm clock for 3 a.m., which was 9 a.m. our time.
Okay.
Went out on the lanai and worked for a few hours, and my family is really understanding. They understand that if we're going to take the vacations, the work has to go in. But like I said, we've got a great team locally as well. We've got 4 agents in addition to myself at this point that are on the team, including a transaction coordinator, 3 full-time salespeople, and then we've got a phenomenal, we call her client care concierge, although my family jokes that she's more my personal assistant.
Yeah.
But they're great at anything boots on the ground if I can't be here. And then our clients know that it doesn't really matter where I am in the world. Yeah. My phone's still on.
You set that expectation up front and follow through.
Yeah.
So let's talk more about what you've grown, because I want to make sure people understand. Like you've opened your own new brokerage, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Remax Noire.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Fits you perfectly. Yep, I still have to visit you guys one day. The pictures look awesome. And was that kind of like a dream that you've had for a long time now to kind of do your own thing, or is that just came up out of nowhere? Or?
No, I mean, right. I've been in ownership with Remax in some small capacity over the past 5 years. I have nothing bad to say about where we came from as far as that goes, but ultimately what I didn't have was full control.
Yeah.
And it's not control for the sake of just wanting to have control. It's control for our clients. And so it's a little bit hard to say, yes, we can definitively do this, or no, we can't.
And then you still have to ask permission or whatever.
Right, yeah. If you're running up a totem pole. And the other thing is the brokerage that I had been a part of previously was growing, and they were a really large operation, and that's great.
Yeah.
But with that comes growing pains and also a lot of rebranding, new locations. And so what we found over the past 5 years is that every year we were either changing a location, so having a physical move, or changing something with name. And that's a distraction in real estate. That's to rebrand your business.
Oh, that's a lot of time. Yeah.
Yeah. And so every year we kind of saw that take away a little bit from our clients, and not for nothing. Obviously, this year has been big because we've done a name change, a location change, construction, and building it out.
Location, you guys are right in Macomb, right? Yep. Hall Road and Card, I believe,
that is
right?
It. Yep. Yeah. So we're just right behind.
So if anyone's out there, you want to stop by or see them, that's where they're at. Hall Road and Card, can't miss it.
Yeah. So ultimately, end of last year, we were faced with kind of the decision again, either change names or change location again. And we said, you know what if we just do both one time, and then for the next 7 years, because that's our lease, we're just there, and we're us, and there's nobody to kind of have to run anything up a totem pole with. And we own the ability to do what we want as a team. We own the ability to build out a space that's modern, that fits our personalities.
Yeah,
and
I see that. You've customized it to be you, which is, again, part of you being authentic and being yourself.
Yeah, and I think Remax gets lately maybe not the best press for being an older, antiquated company. And the reality is there's a lot of us that are still younger and still have a lot of life left in us. And there's a lot of work that the brand is doing to show that. But locally, a lot of the Remax franchises are established, older. So we really wanted to make a space that was fun and new and maybe a little bit edgier. And I think it reflects. I think we did a good job with that.
Yeah. So. What do you see for growth? Are you you happy with the team you got? Are you kind of, do you see yourself adding a few more agents, or?
It's funny that you asked that, because Jeanette, which is our regional president or vice president at Remax here, kind of said, I've said, I'm not recruiting other agents. That's not what we're going into this for.
Right.
And it's not. I want to stay true to that. We really opened the brokerage as a place for our team to grow and thrive without the goal of recruiting. But we've had some people reach out that
they love what you're doing and want to be a part of it?
Yeah, and I don't think we're opposed to it. You know, we've got some open office space. As a team, I think we're really happy with where we are right now. Our 3 sales agents are phenomenal. We just brought on a new transaction manager that is licensed and just kicking ass and taking names, and have been really, really happy with that. Emily's been with us a bit over a year, so we're really comfortable as a team where we are. But I do think that there'll be room for expansion long term, and certainly as our team grows, my free time is a little bit more there to be able to foster agent growth. So
Nice.
So yeah.
What kind of stuff are your team, what are they doing on a daily basis to bring in all the business? And I know there's probably no secret ingredient.
not.
It's really just, it's hard work and showing up every day like we just talked about. And
Yeah.
what do you think are the top things that bring in? Is it sphere of influence, past clients? Is it calling expireds, FISBOs? What is it? What do you think?
I don't do any cold calling, and I don't do very many open houses. So I would say that we probably would be even bigger if we did those things. And I
Yep.
think for the people that are doing them, it's phenomenal. It's not my lane. I'm very uncomfortable in those situations.
Yeah.
I honestly think I could do a few more deals a month if I sat in open houses every weekend. And should I do it? I probably should be. My business is predominantly sphere and reviews at this point. So I don't think there's a secret sauce, but I think if you're not capturing reviews from your raving fans, you're missing out big time. And I know everybody says AI is the next wave, and I believe that it is. I'm not undermining that, but I think there's enough people that are still relying on Google and Yelp. And I'm not talking paid advertisements on Google and Yelp. I'm talking just build your reviews and push the algorithm. The new clients that I personally am bringing on are coming from there. The rest of what I have is Sphere and
So
referrals.
people that don't know you, someone just went on Google and said, top agent in my area or whatever, and then you're on that first page or whatever, and then they see you and they go, wow, she looks like a person that I'd like to connect with. And
I'm sure there's as many people that see the tattoos and are like, absolutely not.
Right,
but
yeah.
for the calls we're getting are pretty serious people from there. My team, however, obviously we have to bring leads in from there. So we've got some partnerships with some lenders that do refer us business. I think that's massive, but that has to be reciprocated.
Yeah.
Number one. And then we don't currently have any paid spend, honestly. So we're doing
None of that Zillow junk, none of the
So Zillow actually
Realtor.com.
doesn't have paid in that
Right,
area
they switched
anymore.
it. Yeah, I know.
it's
I
all
learned
flex.
that. Yep.
We did have Zillow. We've tried almost everything over the past 15 years. Zillow was great for us in the beginning, and as they started rolling out Flex, the quality of leads got a little bit worse. We haven't been with them for close to 5 years now, so we don't have any monthly ad spend as far as that goes. We do have a couple pay at closing referral sources. We've built a really nice national network of other agents that refer business to us. So, and then the other thing that we do have is, I said I don't do cold calling, and I absolutely don't. We did bring on an ISA that does a little bit of cold calling for the team, but when I say a little bit, I mean it's not high scale. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Let's see. I want to get into this. What is something that either a buyer or a seller should just not cut off completely right now? If you're you're thinking about buying or you're thinking about selling, what is something that you see or your team sees where you just got to correct them right out of the gate?
I mean, from a buyer perspective, right? Like, find somebody and figure out that you want to work with them. And I mean that from a real estate agent and a lender perspective. We see so many people shopping around competitively, and yes, you should rate shop to a certain extent, and you should find an agent that you're comfortable with for the next 6 months. But like, as with everything in life, I think consistency is key. So once you've found that person, like, settle down with them, right? Like, we see people continue to rate shop after their offer's been accepted. And that's really something that, in my opinion, should be done.
Me too.
Should be done before you even get into that contract.
Yep.
And love it or hate it, no, your purchase or your pre-approval is not technically part of your executed contract, but it is something that your buyers or your sellers and their agents, rather, are taking into consideration when they're accepting your offer.
Yeah.
And so if you appear wishy-washy with them, like, their faith in you as a consumer is going to be diminished, in my opinion.
Yep.
Sellers, I think sellers have gotten really cocky over the past 6 years. And some of them have absolutely every right to be, right? Some houses I go into and it's like, yes, you are probably going to get multiple offers.
Yeah.
But the sellers that are of the mindset that they don't have to do anything to prepare their home for sale are usually the ones that need to be doing things to prepare their home for sale.
What are some of those things?
It depends on the property, right? Like it depends on the price that you want to get out of it and condition. But like if we walk into a property and they're not willing to sell for a price that offsets it, right? Buyers are looking at the condition of the property now a lot more than they were 5 years ago, 3 years ago, even 2 years ago. I honestly believe, we're seeing properties that aren't in great condition sitting a little bit longer. If your roof only has a year of life expectancy on it, I'm not necessarily going to tell you to replace your roof, but I'm going to ask you to price your property appropriately for it. And your buyers are going to as well.
Oh, yeah.
So they should be prepared to take a concession. That said, I'm going to make every inspector angry. I'm not a fan of pre-sale inspections, personally.
On the listing and the seller's side, if they do a private one? Okay.
Yeah. For a number of reasons. If you spend the money and then your buyer's inspector finds something that your inspector didn't find, you're going to be upset. Another reason is your buyer may not negotiate as aggressively for something that you're going to spend the money doing. So, for instance, if a buyer is going to negotiate $15,000 off of a roof that would have cost you $27,000 to put on, you have lost yourself $12,000.
Yeah.
So, know what your strengths and weaknesses are, and then develop a strategic plan. There are things that make sense to do beforehand: cleaning, decluttering. If you have raw drywall, painting. And then there are things that probably the negotiation is going to cost you less than the actual repair is. So,
Yep.
That's a personal opinion, but
It's a valid good one, though. Let's have some fun. You've been doing it 15 years. You've got to have some pretty damn good stories. This is my favorite part is
the stories?
Yeah, the stuff, because that's what people want to hear about, man. It's entertainment. It's fun. It could be funny. It could be scary. It could be wild. Just what's something that you never expected and you just walked in on, or it happened, or a customer lost their mind. I mean, I've been threatened to be shot once. Again, but you guys deal with the people so much more intimately than I do as a lender, so you're going to have way better stories than me.
Yeah, well, and you door knock, right?
So I don't knock. I never knock.
Oh, well,
I could tell stories about that.
Yeah.
I had a good one from when I passed out flyers last week. A guy called me and basically said he's going to grab all the garbage bags in his house and dump his garbage at my door.
That's amazing. I had a school teacher call me one time. We were doing, and it was real estate because I was branded on it, but it was just a community outreach program, and correct me for a grammar error on my flyer. And I was wrong, like totally. But no, I think the craziest, I have two of them. I had one that just recently happened, and I have one from the bank-owned eras. And I was spending a lot more time in Detroit. We had a foreclosure property. It wasn't even mine. I was working on behalf of the agent that I started with. And we had gone out to the property and it was vacant. And the next day we went out and it was not vacant. And so we knew something was up.
Yeah, who'd you find there?
So we had a squatter. It was a gentleman dressed as a woman. No judgment as far as that goes. Asked him, though, like how he got keys. He said the owner had signed a lease with him, asked him for his lease. Now, bear in mind, we had been in the property the day before.
Right.
There were no toilets. There was no plumbing. It was an essentially gutted house. So we knew it hadn't been leased and we knew the bank owned it. We asked him for his lease. He said, sure, he would go get it. He closed the door, and about, honestly, 4 minutes later, like we stood uncomfortably on the porch for quite a while, came back with a CVS receipt and a lease written in crayon on the back of it. And so that was a really amusing thing. But I think the wildest one happened to me end of last year. We were getting ready to close on a property. We were ready to close on the property, actually.
You had the buyers?
Yeah, I had the buyers. Okay. It was a acreage parcel in a rural area. And we went to closing. Everything was great. And 24 hours after closing, we got a call, kind of a frantic one. It was an older gentleman who was selling the house, and his daughter had been the power of attorney, and we had been dealing with her the whole time.
Okay.
And the agent called me 24 hours after closing and said, kind of a little bit of a hiccup. The daughter went to the house to take some stuff out of the garage
and
today.
And this again,
after
everything's
closing.
done.
Everything's closed. Yep. Signed, sealed, delivered. Everything is closed. And she said the the stepdaughter or her stepsister essentially
Okay.
owned an adjacent parcel to the one that my client had bought. And when she saw it being cleared out, panicked and came over and told her that mom's remains were buried on the property. And it ended up being an urn. So,
Okay, so
like,
it's true.
Fortunately,
Okay.
not a whole body, whatever. But
Oh, thank God.
but the daughter that we had been working with didn't know.
Oh, really? Okay.
That it was there, and the stepdaughter was obviously in a panic because mom was still on the property, and they needed to get permission to dig it up because people don't realize that like anything that is embedded in the land is technically
Part of the deal.
And the buyer now owned mom's remains. So buyer obviously was like,
Oh, please take it. Yes,
get mom
get it
out
out
of
of
the
here.
ground.
Yeah.
But it was one of the weirdest calls that I've ever
Wow.
had. So yeah.
My goodness. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've had someone die in the middle of a transaction.
Yeah, that unfortunately happens more than I care to admit.
Really? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this one, mine, it only happened once that I remember, and it still went through. The husband passed, and the wife was able to be approved on her own. And
Yeah.
I talked to her about it, and I said, no one's going to blame you if you just don't want to go through. No, nobody on either side is going to give you anything. She goes, no, I still want to do it. I said, my God, bless you. Okay, let's do it. Redid all the paperwork and closed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And good for her. Most of the time when it happens for me, it's on the sell side.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then then I imagine it can be does it have to go to probate, or is it, I guess it could go either way.
I mean, I've had it happen more than a handful of times. I had one in St. Clair Shores that had to go to probate. Didn't think that it was coming, obviously. But a lot of times I'm getting the calls like as people are selling to afford assisted living for family members.
Gotcha. Yep.
And so in those instances, it's one of the first questions I ask, like, is mom or dad still alive? Because a lot of times it's the children that are reaching out to me. If they are, do we have a trust? Do we have a ladybird deed? Do we have a quitclaim deed?
Yeah.
If we don't and they're still alive, are they mentally still able to execute something like that?
True.
And if so, is it something that they'd be willing to kind of do, prior to listing? And it's an uncomfortable conversation to have, right? But but at the same time, we had it happen this weekend.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and we knew that time was limited and they had the right things in place, and we, without a hiccup, were able to accept an offer last night, and the family's going to be able to kind of move on. And so it's a real thing.
Yeah.
And it's uncomfortable, but it is worth
Part
having
of the job.
Yeah.
Part of the job. Yep. Let's see. You are a buyer's agent. You're walking people through touring homes. What are some of the things that instantly stand out to you that you advise them on? Is there anything where you've walked into a house and just immediately were like, let's get out of here?
I mean, yeah, I would say that there are things. So I always tell people, like, I don't care if you buy the ugliest house on the block. Like, if we go in and it's green shag carpet and you love it, that's a personal preference. But like, there are things that we're definitely like watching for. And again, I'm going to be unpopular here. I know inspectors pass them all the time. I don't like structural I-beams in basements. Okay. And in St. Clair Shores, we see them all the time. When I find them, it's my advice to kind of run in the opposite direction. Most of the waterproofing companies that put them in only warranty them for 10 years, which is insane to me because you're taking out a 30-year mortgage. So you're essentially setting yourself up to fail immediately. It's been my experience, and I'm not going to say that it happens on every single house, but I've seen it happen a lot where you brace one wall and the pressure goes somewhere else and the next one goes as well. And then you're bracing and you're bracing and you're bracing, and you can only do it, in my opinion, so many times before you finally have a full steel I-beam wall, or you have to excavate the property.
You're right. Dig everything out.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a massive investment. So, and again, it comes down to pricing. Like, if you get the price for the right, or the house for the right price.
Right. Knowing what you're getting into.
Knowing what you're getting into. So that, I think that's my biggest, like, red flag. I've heard other agents that are like, oh, the floors were uneven, the foundation has to be bad. We work in a lot of rural areas. That's not always necessarily the case.
Right.
But I think a full inspection is warranted if you see wonky floors, right, to find out what's going on that led them there.
Yep.
But if you're in a 120-year-old house and the floors wave a little bit, well,
it's expected.
How good am I going to look at 120? You're probably not great, right? Like, I'm going to need some maintenance too. So
yeah.
I think that there's a lot less of a this is a dead stop and a lot more of
let's be realistic
education.
about it. And
Education. Is it something you want to take on, and can we get the property for the right price if you still want to pursue it? But yeah, I think those steel I-beams are my biggest.
Fair enough. Let's talk HGTV and all the TV shows. And we can talk about what is, in your opinion, the difference between because the everyday person watches these shows and then they come up with an unrealistic expectation of how this process is going to go.
Yeah.
What's the eye opener? What's the big difference between what you see on those shows and what you actually have to go through in real life?
Well, first and foremost, let's have a real quick conversation.
Yeah.
By the time those shows are filmed, those people have already picked a house.
Yep.
They are not walking 3 houses and picking one from 3. They already know which one they're going to buy.
Yep.
And they already have secured permissions from that seller to film that.
Yeah.
But I think
they're completely staged.
They're
fake
completely
shows.
staged
First
and
of all,
fake.
people, let's be real.
Yeah. I think that's right. Like the flipper shows, you're going to get this great deal off market. Again, those people have already secured those deals before they're filming them. They're not going out to a house and then filming an episode there and then saying, can we get it for the right price? They already know that they have, and they're spending the manpower after the fact. In addition to which, if flipping is something that you're interested in, you need to know that most houses that are flipped are found off market, not by the time they go to fair market. I mean, the competition is so huge.
Yeah, and your margins of what you're going to make go down. Yeah, you got to find it before everyone else does.
That's it. It takes a lot of work. It takes, I mean, frankly, like we don't have a magic rule book in real estate. I don't know what every other agent's going to have listed within a week. I don't know what I'm going to have listed within a week, to be honest. So I think that's one of the fallacies. And then the other one comes down to, if you honestly think that you're going to tour 3 houses and find your dream home from those 3, like strap in, because it's about to be a wild ride. Not to say that I don't have people that find the right one the first time out, but it is not the norm. It's the exception.
Now let's also talk about something I touched on last night with a huge thank you. Mm-hmm. You sold a house in my neighborhood, and I'll just touch on it and you can go from there. You broke the area record. Mm-hmm. How'd you do it? How'd you get that much? I mean, not say it's a beautiful big ranch house. And what did it go for again? 320?
335. Yeah.
Did you go into that telling them that they're going to get or was it they got even more? And like it appraised being the highest? Like, is it a little bit of luck? Like,
I mean, well, you have to have the right house, right? So I'm not going to say that everything I touch turns to gold or sold for another local real estate agent's marketing.
Yeah.
No, I mean, right? Like there are properties that I list that definitely sit, and for a number of reasons, condition, pricing, whatever. If you have though the right seller, the right property, and they're willing to kind of put your trust in it, they wanted 336. That was their number.
Okay.
When we went into it, and that's what the local tax assessor had on it, just for the record, which normally is way higher than what we can always achieve. And so they had that expectation. They had met with 2 other people. We all came in with the same pricing. They picked me because of our marketing plan. And we had a really comprehensive marketing plan. We sat down and we talked about, listen, like if you want 335, we can't list at 335. Like that's nothing in the neighborhood is sold for that. It's just kind of an unrealistic expectation. So we went back a year. I like 6 months a little bit better, but it was a really... and I'm going to give credit to the subdivision. That is a really unique subdivision in a town.
Not just saying I live there, but it's unique.
It is. It's a unique subdivision. Yeah. It's a more popular subdivision than some of the other areas. The houses do tend to sell already for more than that city sells for. But in addition to that, like, you know, we knew we wanted to capture more than what they were going to get, but we set realistic expectations. And so we said, if we go back 6 months in a year, what's the highest comparable? And it was 300 at that point. Okay. And there was a pending, I believe, at 317. And we ran numbers in 2 different ways. We ran numbers in the neighborhood. We ran numbers based on a price per square footage. We had the square footage on our side, which really helped. Yeah. There was an estate sale that was going to be happening, so we pre-marketed the heck out of the property. Yeah. We brought our photographer in before the estate sale happened. We had it staged, and when I say staged, we didn't bring out a stager. I walked through the property with the clients and said,
"Put your couch there, do this." Yeah, okay.
You know, we had the upstairs shot before the before the estate sale happened. We marketed the property during the estate sale. We put together, printed marketing for the estate
Gave
sale.
it to everybody that came through.
Exactly.
Share it with your family and friends. Spread the word.
Spread the word.
Yep.
Really worked hard to make sure that we had the marketing in place, that people knew it was going to be coming on the market, that there was a little bit of anticipation and excitement.
Oh, yeah.
And then when it went live, we spent a lot of time talking to the agents that were showing it, the agents that reached out and said that they were interested. We spent a lot of time verifying pre-approvals.
Yep.
We looked at appraisal gap guarantees because we thought we were going to need it. We did appraise, which...
It did, yeah?
It did appraise, yeah.
Right.
We appraised
Yes.
for that. On a price per square footage basis, we had the numbers on our side, and we pushed hard with the appraiser for that. And ultimately, that's a win for everybody. Like, if the buyer doesn't have to come out of pocket extra money, but the seller gets what they want at the end of the day. So we worked kind of both ends on that one. And yeah, we had a buyer that specifically wanted that neighborhood. His parents lived in it.
That's how, my grandparents lived next door to me. I grew up in the neighborhood. It's a
My
special,
aunt lived next
special.
door to you?
Yes,
Aunt,
my
cousin,
my
whatever.
aunt, your cousin,
Right,
is
yeah.
my neighbor.
Yep.
Yep. Shout out Aunt Bridge.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a unique neighborhood, and I get reports sent to me. Like a here's your value report, and I've been getting a little frustrated because the last like 2 or 3, it's like they kept creeping down just a little every time over the past 6 months or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I just got the other one yesterday, I think, and that's what made me call you. Is it jumped up like way higher than I think it was before it started kind of creeping down a little bit. So thank you again.
Well, also the ebbs and flows of the market. So like obviously, that one.
And now
sale
we're in the
definitely
summer, we're in the
helps
peak, but.
Yeah.
What you did definitely helped them. We're not downplaying a good realtor's work.
Tell your neighbors.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
So do you pass out, how do you spread the word? Do you send out mailers?
Yeah.
Do you pass out flyers? Like, hey, we just sold this. Like, especially because it was a unique, like, we broke the record in your neighborhood.
I should be so much better at this than I am.
I know a guy that you can hire and he'll do it.
Yeah. We have done that. We just did the same thing. And I say it was listed by an agent on my team. Same thing though. I helped her prep all of the marketing, and we did much of the same. So we didn't have an estate sale on that one, but we did a lot of coming soon pre-marketing, hired the right photographer because it matters. Oh man, the
with
amount
that
of
pictures, because I hear this a lot too, is the pictures are very misleading, either both ways. The pictures look bad and the house look great, or it's important,
massive,
very important.
It's so big. I compare real estate to my clients all the time with like online dating, right? If I were online dating in this world, and thank God I'm not, but if I were, I'm not putting the picture of me in a messy bun and sweatpants on my dating profile, right?
Yep.
Real estate's a numbers game. I think the statistic used to be, and I don't want to necessarily be quoted on this, like it takes 15 viewings to get an offer.
Okay.
I think we're in a little bit of a different market right now. But the reality is if you get the right amount of traffic through any property, it will eventually sell. And so our goal is best foot forward. And if you can see your real estate agent in the reflection of your bathroom mirror, it's not the right attention. Personally, it's probably not going to draw.
I've seen those crazy listing photos where you've got the guy in the underwear and the double mirror reflection and iPhone pictures. So
nope, we hire a professional photographer. But so kind of circling back to the marketing. An agent on our team listed a Rochester Hills property. The neighborhood hadn't exceeded 570, I think was the highest, 560, 570 in there. And we ended up selling for 625. And it was very much the same. We spent a lot of time and money on marketing the property the right way. We spent a lot of time with the sellers detailing every update that had been done to the property so that when, people were reaching out to us, and I say us because I take an active role in my entire team stuff, we knew how to answer, what the roof age was and it's not a perfect system. We don't always get that information from people, but when we can get it, it's huge. We detail it in our listing descriptions. We try to put it out there so that, ultimately for a seller, if a buyer's not worried about replacing a roof in the near future, it's usually reflected in their offer. So in that instance, we did some mailers where we said, we just set the record high for your neighborhood.
Beautiful.
I've done it in my...
Did you get any responses to
I
that
just
you
sent
know
them out
of?
last week, so we'll
What's
see.
that?
We just sent them out last week.
Oh, okay,
so we'll
okay.
See. Yeah, but I've done it in my subdivision, and in the past, we've set the record high, I think, 4 different times in there. So
Breaking records.
so we've done that a few times, and it's been lucrative for us. So
Good for you guys.
but yeah, I wish I was more consistent with that. I need to be.
Don't we all? Let's do some fun rapid fire questions here, just for shits and giggles with you, Jess.
Here we go.
Coffee or energy drinks?
Coffee.
Okay. Zillow or Redfin if you had to pick one? Neither.
Yeah, I'm sadly going to say Zillow because I actually really do like their showcase that Remax has recently partnered on. I think it puts a really nice foot forward for sellers. But in terms of actual data, just call your agent and get an MLS direct.
Yeah, I can't tell you enough on the lending and more real estate side. Stop relying on the internet. Stop relying on an 800 number from somebody from a different state. Call local people. Okay.
Yep.
Next one, new build or historic home?
For very different reasons, both of them.
Okay.
Historic home is way better for character, and if it's been standing for 150 years, it's probably going to keep standing. But new build's got a really, nice set of traits about it as well. Everything is newer, so you're not going to have to worry about your roof, ideally, in the near future. Most of them come with some kind of a warranty, so I think it depends on the consumer.
Where do you get your favorite Detroit-style pizza at around here?
Oh, man. Listen, it's not Detroit-style pizza, but...
Any pizza, a local place that you love.
Not been to Mad Nice in Detroit.
Mad Nice? Never even heard of it. Okay.
I went there for a lunch, was not looking to have pizza, and it smelled so good I took one home and rebaked in the afternoon. It was amazing.
And still, second bake was better than everything else you've had. Done.
So good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gonna have to remember that.
Yeah, I think that it's like their Midtown special. It's got like 2 layers of crust.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Favorite local bar to go to? Not your basement, not
Yeah,
you go out with your family or friends. Where's a nice place that you like? Little dive bar, big place?
I'm not a big bar place, but it's kind of a running joke among my real estate peers. The Kit Kat Club.
Oh my God, I haven't been there in so many years.
So Kathleen Best, another phenomenal local real estate
agent.
Shout out
Kathleen, how you doing?
She'll text me a picture and be like, "Where are you?" whenever she's there, and vice versa. Because for like a year, every time I went, which isn't often, I ran into her there. But so we try to get out there. It's always packed wall to wall.
Oh yeah.
It's been kind of a running joke with my husband and I for not a running joke, but like a staple, anyways, since childhood. And so it's funny to see it kind of turn around now. It's packed again, but
okay. Yeah. Most underrated city around Detroit.
Most underrated city around Detroit. I'm going to go with my hometown right now, New Haven.
Really? Why?
When I bought my house in New Haven, I bought it not as a place that I ever thought I would stay. When I was growing up, I grew up in Macomb Township. New Haven was kind of like the place you didn't want to go. The schools were kind of shit on, in my opinion. Yep. It was... right, just like a rural town with not as good of education as the neighboring areas. So we bought the property that we bought in 2014. We got it for a great price, intended to be there 5 to 10 years, and then we're going to look for something more rural. And I'm 11 years into the neighborhood.
I was just going to ask, Okay.
12 years, yeah.
It just grew on you, and you just...
It's not even that it grew on me. Like, I love the community. I love the people. I've sat on
I see you
Village
guys get
Council.
you guys have a food truck that comes every weekend?
That.
Or you are the one that promotes it and everything, and you do that for your whole neighborhood. I'm sure that helps with your marketing for your personal self a little.
Yeah, it's decent for marketing, but it's
fun with your community.
Yeah, it's fun with the community. It's a really closed community. I sat on Village Council for 4 years. I sat on zoning board. I still take an active part in the fire department committee up there. It's nice, right? It's a tiny little town. We're 2 by 2 square miles. Know most everybody in my subdivision. It's very comfortable. The houses are relatively newer. There's still some new construction happening there.
Yeah.
It's getting a little bit more congested than it was when I bought there.
Yeah, as well everything.
As well everything. But it's just far enough away that there's still rural
you get the feel of both. You're out in the country and by yourself, but
I'm
down the road from everything else you need.
Yeah, it's actually my brother-in-law always says, every time he asks us where we're going and how far it is, we're 45 minutes, and he's like, I swear to God, if you guys say 45 minutes one more time, but it is. Everything is really accessible. So yeah,
perfect. Oh, let's see. We're getting ready to wrap up soon, so I want to make sure that we've talked about a lot. Mm-hmm. Do you ever have a closing that blew up at the closing table?
Yeah.
Okay, I have too. What was yours?
Well, I mean, honestly, my own personal one in 2014 took
Really?
8 hours.
How? Why? What the hell
sellers
happened?
didn't show up.
Why not?
So they owed extra money that they weren't aware that they were
Oh
going to
my
owe.
God! Somebody
and
didn't do all the title background and all that.
Yeah,
And found a lien.
It was a short sale.
Okay.
There was a lien. The HOA assessment hadn't been paid. I ended up paying it. And
As the buyer, you just
yeah, we just were ready to close.
Yep.
It took us all day. We started at 9 a.m. and by 4:30, I physically drove the paperwork over to the seller and was like, just sign it. For the love of God. And it was a Friday, so we didn't know all weekend if we officially had the house because the short sale documents had to be delivered within a certain amount of time.
closed in escrow or whatever, and then just hope and pray that you get
for
that
the best.
call. Yeah.
Yep. So that was a super fun one. And then I've had 2 where the buyers pull up in a new car.
Son of a bitch. Yep.
Yep.
I was going to say that is one where and we tell them, I do, I can't speak for every lender, but we tell them like, hey, don't take out any new financing. Don't let anyone even touch your credit. Mm-hmm. And that has happened before. No matter what you do, you can coach them and tell them a million times till you're blue in the face. And what kind of car? Was it nice car at least?
One of them blew up at the table, but we actually threw it through underwriting and it closed within an hour.
Okay, so they could still afford it.
You just had to afford it. We just had a hiccup, and it was a BMW, and it was very nice. And one of them was a minivan. It wasn't that nice, but they had a transmission problem, and they did not close.
Yeah, I had one. I remember it was the typical you always hear. Someone was offered to save 20 or 30% at Kohl's. Mm-hmm. Got open up that new card.
Yep.
Caused a lot of headaches.
Yeah. So those are really the only 2. Only one of them didn't close. They did eventually close, just not on that house.
Right. Yeah.
That day.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yep. And I have one right now. First time in 15 years this happened. She was going through a divorce, very clean, amicable, no kids, no nothing. Her divorce got finalized between clear to close and closing.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, thanks. Like,
yep.
Doable. We'll get it done.
Happen.
Yeah, we'll get it done.
But we got a clear title, and I need a final copy of the divorce decree, and we need something saying that the spouse is signing off on all rights because, yeah.
So as we're wrapping up here, for those of you out there watching and listening, if you love Jessica and you want to connect with her, how can they get a hold of you?
I mean, my cell phone's the easiest. You can call me or text me, which is 586-738-8778. I'm on all the social media, so you can find me there. You can shoot me an email, which is longer than I'm going to rattle off right now, but I'm pretty findable. I've got a Google page.
Yeah, there you go. And she got a beautiful new office, like I said, right in Macomb, on Card, just north of Hall Road, across from CJ Barrymore's. You can't miss it.
It's a weird flex, but everybody says it smells good when you walk in. So
look at that.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
First impressions, just like when you walk into a home. You get that good smell, a good impression. Things tend to go well. So that's it, guys. Welcome. Thank you for joining the closing table. Jessica, you've been a phenomenal guest. Thank you for your time. And I wish you nothing but the best for this year.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome.